Right. So, as I was mentioning, I normally teach English using past papers, and there's anything that comes up in between that needs further explanation or going into detail, then I do that right on the side. So here there are four texts. You can see three of them on your screen at the moment. So you can read, you can go through them. And when you need me to scroll, you can ask, right? So I'll scroll to the fourth text and then we'll move to the questions. All right?
Okay. Actually, I'm done. Can you scroll down? So I'm done reading.
So now we'll move to the questions. Actually, now for these questions, right, they're asking you which text gives you this information or expresses this opinion. Now, when you give me the answer, not only do I want you to tell me in which text can you find this information, and again, right, the wording will be different. So A is asking you about which text gives you the idea, right? Which person, meaning which text, obviously, A, B, C, or D, and that has some name associated with it. So, right, but you basically need to write the letter of the text. So the idea that attempting complex looking recipes is too much effort. Now, keep in mind that this exact phrasing is not what you'll find in the text. You'll find something that gives you the same meaning but is worded differently. Okay, so that's one thing that's one of the challenges of the paper, right? Is finding this kind of information which is being expressed in different words. Secondly, when you give me the answer, okay, for example, it's text C, right? I will ask you what part of that text made you think this is the answer, so that I know that you were able to come to the correct conclusion. Because sometimes students misunderstand the text, and as it happens by chance, right, they do get the right answer, but for the wrong reason. Okay, so we're going to try to get the right answer for the right reason. Okay, and for this, I will need to zoom out a bit so all four of the texts are visible at the same time, right? And again, the question is the idea that attempting complex looking recipes is too much effort. So here's are all four texts, and let me know when you found the answer.
Actually, can you go down again? I just want to take a screenshot of the questions.
Oh, okay. So let me, so you can see that in better zoom. These are all the questions, 9 of them.
Yeah, and then you can scroll back up.
Okay, and I'm zooming out, so you can see all the texts on screen.
Except for the first one, I think it's C.
Okay, C is the correct answer, but as I said, I'm going to ask you, why do you think it's C?
Yeah, and the question it says attempting complex looking recipes, and in C it says exotic dishes,
So what does it say about exotic dishes?
like exotic complex. They're kind of the same. And then at the end it says I'm never sure it's worth the hard work, which means like he's not satisfied with how much work he has done. So
Right. So yeah.
it's too much effort.
So it says, see, if you just say exotic dishes, it says that some of my favorite things to cook are exotic dishes I've had the chance to try elsewhere. Right. So it's not that he doesn't like it, right? But then he says that when I read the recipe list, right, I often have the feeling that all the stages involved or the long list of ingredients means it's just not practical to have a go myself, right? And so, right, obviously, this is giving you like an indirect uh, idea that attempting complex looking recipes is too much effort. It's not saying it directly, right? But that is what it's saying. So, yes, good. Okay, the next one is a recommendation for a good source of inspiration. A recommendation for a good source of inspiration.
It's A.
And what in A tells you that?
Um, in the second last line, and you want to get into cooking, then food blogs can and identify things that are fun to make as well as eat. Is it correct?
Just a minute. Yes, right, that would make sense. Right? If, and you want to get into cooking, then food blogs can identify things that are fun to make as well as. Next is a description of the effect on the writer of eating a certain dish. A description of the effect on the writer of eating a certain dish.
It's D.
And what part of D tells you that?
Um, I make the last line. I make it quite regularly, and then it's like I'm back in a beachside cafe.
Okay, yeah. Right, so she's comparing, she does that because that's what she had, this unusual sweet and sour salad when she was on a holiday in Thailand, and then she makes it regularly and she feels as if she's back over there. Okay, so next question. A suggestion of how to adapt a recipe to individual preferences.
It's B.
Yes. What part of B tells you that?
Um, it's using milder or stronger spices according to taste.
Yes. Okay. Then we have an understanding that made the writer enjoy cooking more. Okay.
Okay.
This one a bit tricky.
Yeah, like I'm kind of doing it between B or D.
Between B or D. Okay. So I'm going to ask you what in both of these texts is giving you that hint. What are you reading in B that's telling you it might be this one? What are you reading in D that's telling you that they enjoy cooking more because of some reason?
In B, I think it's there are all sorts of things you can do, and who knows, it might end up being better than the original.
Okay.
And then in D, it's but of course, being able to create your own original dishes just based on what's available at home, that's something else altogether.
Again, could you repeat the one in D?
Which one?
The one in D, which part of the text of D? The one.
The
Yeah,
fourth last line. Being able to create your own original dishes just based on what's available at home.
okay. Now, looking at the question again, an understanding that made the writer enjoy cooking more. Okay, now the thing is that, right, being, what was it? There are all sorts of things you can do, and who knows that, right, it might end up being better than the original. This doesn't tell you that they're enjoying it. I mean, it does show excitement and interest, but you know, you want to perhaps look for something in the other text that is more closer to a feeling of enjoyment. Right now, in some cases, you would be confused because the answer might seem very close, and so there you have to look at some of the technical differences in the text. Suffice it to say that B is not the answer we're looking for. Right? As for D, right? So you said fourth last line, and so yeah, being able to create your own original dishes is just based on what's right. That shows creativity, perhaps, but it doesn't give the meaning of enjoyment. Now the answer is C. Actually, it's neither B nor D, right? So now that we know what the answer is, can you find something in the text of C that tells you that this person is enjoying cooking more, right? And understanding that made the writer enjoy cooking more. So is there something in text C that's telling you?
Is it this? It is definitely a rewarding skill that can be acquired. The added bonus for me has been getting to try some interesting food along the way.
Yes, so it starts off by, you know, I've been cooking for a while, and while I enjoy it, I admit there have been quite a few disasters. Right? Because his dad is a chef, he thought he'd be good at it as well. But over time, I've realized that although being a good cook isn't something you're born with, it is definitely a rewarding skill that can be acquired. Right? And yeah. So that part is telling you, okay, fine. So, right, because the question is asking not just that they're enjoying it, but they're enjoying it more. Okay.
Okay.
So it's not just about enjoyment. So because he says at the start, I've been cooking for a while, and while I enjoy it, right? And so, right, after realizing that, okay, fine, you're going to make mistakes, you're going to try something, right? And it's something that it's a skill that you can develop and not something you're born with, right? And yeah, so you can try interesting things as well. So that, right, is telling you that the enjoyment has, leveled up. Okay, moving to the next question. So we have the wish to be able to cook without having to follow recipes, right? The wish to be able to cook without having to follow recipes.
Is it C again?
Hmm?
Is it C again?
It is not C.
B?
Not B either. I don't see anything in C that would tell you that their wish is to be able to cook without looking at the recipe, right? And in B, they're talking about substituting ingredients, but
In
not,
uh,
yeah,
in C they talk about I often have the feeling that all stages involved or the long list of ingredients means it's just not practical to have a go myself.
yeah. So that basically means that cooking complex dishes that have a lot of ingredients and a lot of steps is not something that the this person is particularly interested in. Okay, so that doesn't tell you anything about wanting to cook without following recipes, right? And similarly in B, it's about changing the ingredients depending on need or taste, but it doesn't mention anything about not following the recipe list or not looking at the recipe.
Then it's D.
And what in D is telling you then?
Origin to create your own original dishes just based on what's available at home.
Right, that's something else altogether, and it's what I'm aiming to be able to do. That's exactly right. And so, creating original dishes from what's available at home is basically telling you, yeah, they're not following a recipe. They're just looking, okay, fine, I've got these things. What can I make out of it? Right. And so, D would be the correct
Okay.
answer. Okay. The next question, some advice uh, about how to benefit from a negative situation. Advice on how to benefit from a negative situation.
It's B.
B?
B.
Yeah, B. And what tells you that?
I've generally found there's still something to be learned from the process, and if not, we'll put it down to experience and move on.
Yeah, so he's talking about dishes that don't turn out the way you expect, right? And so that's obviously a negative experience, and then he's saying, yeah, learn from it. So that's good. Okay, so spot on. Next, we have something unexpected the writer learned from some recipes, right? Something unexpected the writer learned from some recipes.
Is it A?
It is A. Good. Now, why is it A?
It talks about unexpected things, and if you look at how people's tastes have really changed over the generation. Some of the things that were common back then actually sounded unpleasant, if I'm honest.
Right. So it talks about, right, learning from her grandmother and looking at her diary, her old recipes, and the unexpected thing that she learned basically was, I never imagined well, Zach, so probably a guy. So I never imagined I would discover so much about social history, right? How people's tastes have really changed over the generation. So that's the unexpected thing that they learned, uh, right, from some of the recipes. And finally, right, the idea that the writer finds the process of cooking relaxing. Okay, so yeah,
Okay.
moving to the text.
Except for this one, I don't know.
You're unable to get it. Hmm?
I can't find the answer for this one.
Okay, so before going there again, right, the writer finds the process of cooking relaxing. So something that hints towards some form of relaxation. And right, so the answer over here is D. Now, since I've told you that, can
Which
you
one?
D, the last one, Becca,
Okay.
right? Can you find what part of D talks about finding the process of cooking relaxing?
Um, is it about the holiday thing in Thailand and then in the sun it's perfect?
Well, no, right? It's kind of subtle, right? And being in Thailand is, not about cooking. It's something about the process of cooking, right? So some part of cooking that Becca finds relaxing.
Is it the third line? Especially simple ones like chopping or peeling that offer me a complete contrast.
Yes. And in context, right? So it's telling you that she has a difficult lifestyle and day-to-day activities require concentration and careful thought, right? So she's always like busy and always thinking, and her mind is always engaged. However, when it comes to cooking, it's the repeated actions, like the simple ones like chopping or peeling, that offer a complete contrast, right? So from being very busy and engaged to not being busy and engaged, which you can translate to feeling relaxed, right? And so that's where the tricky bit comes in for the paper, right? So as I mentioned in our introductory class, that yes, 0510 is overall easier than the other syllabus codes that Cambridge offers at this level, but that does not mean that it's going to be a simple walk in the park. There is a certain level of skill required, language skill required, and that's what's showing up right now. Okay, so Right, we're done with this exercise. Now, exercise 3, you have to make notes. Right, what we can, right, I mean, we can try and start this off. We have some time. So, right, before, now, as I mentioned, before looking at the question, read the text. Right, so I'll zoom in. I can make that, yeah, so there you go, right? The topic is tiny homes. Right, it's a recent lifestyle trend in which, right, people choose to live in very small houses. Right, so their notes, but first the text. That's the whole text on screen. Let me know when you're done reading.
Okay. I'm done.
Okay. Right now, this exercise requires for you to make notes. And as you can see, right, they've given you sort of scenario, although that doesn't really matter. Imagine you are going to give a talk about tiny homes to your classmates. Use words from the article to help you write some notes. Right, make short notes under each. So they've given you two topics for which you have to find notes. You have to make notes. You have to find points, right? And they've given you an example, right? So the first one is disadvantages of tiny homes, and the example given is that they're too small to suit everyone. Now, obviously, right, since that's already given an example, if you repeat that as one of the points for this heading, you're not going to get any marks. So you need to find the 3 bullet points, 3 lines for disadvantages of tiny homes, 1 mark for each. And so you need to find 3 other points about disadvantages. Then the second one is reasons why tiny homes are popular. And you have to find 4 points about them being popular. Remember, these are notes. Notes do not have to be complete sentences, and they do not need to be very grammatically correct and accurate. Right? So you can jot down sometimes just the keywords, or you can jot down just a part of the sentence or a broken sentence, as long as it's giving you the proper meaning, right? So
Okay.
you don't need lengthy sentences explaining everything. Just the key point, the very core of the idea. Okay. So if you want, you can look for both of these at the same time. If you want, you can look for them in turn, right? The first one is disadvantages of tiny homes, right? 3 points for that. And the second one is reasons why tiny homes are popular. So I'm moving back to the text. It's a short text. See what you can find.
Yes, sir. For this, like, do I write all the points down, or do I tell you like points individually?
First, find all the points and then we'll discuss them.
Okay.
All right. So first off, can you tell me the points you found for disadvantages?
It's a high cost of fuel needed to transport the houses.
Okay.
That's the first one. The second one is tricky to control the temperature inside the house.
Okay.
And the third one is no one wants to fix part of the house when construction has ended.
Okay. Two of them are correct. The third one is not one of the suggested points. Right. So the high cost of fuel to transport them and tricky to control the temperature. Now, there are actually four possible points for disadvantages in the text other than the example given. Okay. So you found two of them. The third one is not every region has building regulations, right? And that's a disadvantage because then the company that is making the houses doesn't have to follow any government rules, and so the quality of the house can be low.
Yes, so not every region has building in regulations. Um, it's just it's just a further explanation of the building regulations. Like no one wants to end up with problems.
It is right, but that is right. So you might argue that this is not a direct disadvantage of the house itself. And the other point that the other possible point that you could have chosen is that it is not always straightforward to connect a range of services, right? So the utilities, the gas and the water and everything, right? So that's one of the disadvantages of tiny homes. So you get 2 out of 3, which is good for starters, right? It
Okay.
does it does happen at times that you don't agree with the suggested answer that Cambridge has. And in some cases, our disagreement is valid, right? At least from a teacher point of view. Uh, but the problem is that because it is, Cambridge is the examining body, and we have to try and train ourselves to respond to their requirements, and that's basically what practicing past papers does, right? It's training to be able to respond to the requirement of that particular paper, right?
Okay.
All right, the next one was why they are popular. So what points do you have? 4 points about why they are popular.
Yeah, for that I didn't do it until now.
Oh, you just found these three?
Yeah.
Okay, so how about we leave that for next time perhaps?
Okay.
Right, so we can pick that up again tomorrow, right? Tomorrow, because
Okay.
our regular class is on Friday, but I shifted it just for this week, right?
Okay.
So it will be tomorrow at 8 p.m. Pakistan time.
8 or 9.
8 8.
Okay, so it's the same. But for tomorrow I have another class at this time.
Well, I did put in the message. Okay, just a minute.
Yeah.